Hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Patrick,
And I'm Paul in witness protection again.
and do you want to give me a high five there, Paul? High five.
I don't think it's gonna work,
Oh, it's not
mate.
going to work this time. Um,
Oh, come on,
well,
camera.
there
Yeah,
we go.
yes.
Yay!
No longer
See,
in witness protection.
it's when you're just too damn gorgeous for technology to recognize it doesn't know what to do. Freaks out. Everybody who's watching, I just forgot that it's not me and Paul on a chat on the phone there. Hey, we're Hear Us Out and all that good stuff. We're going to do a show tonight that we couldn't find a good short title for. This is about movie scenes that have overshadowed or are now more famous or more remembered than the movies they're from. Even to the point that people know these scenes but have probably never even seen the movie. Know an awful lot about the movie in some cases, but have not actually seen the darn thing. So, Paul, it's fertile ground. Not saying that
Yeah.
again. Um, my tongue gets stuck in my back tooth. I look thumbnail up. Well, let's kick into it first of all. Let's just really ram into these before we get to the fun ones. I
I'm right
have
into it, man.
I have left an image on screen that I forgot. For any of the long time watchers, Paul, you'll get it the minute. Behind me, there's a callback to our first ever set when that picture right there of good old Steve-O McQueeno on a chair was as much set dressing as we had in a little spare room. So in honor of this episode, because that is a scene that is more famous than the movie it's from, or at least that image in this case. So I had to put him back there just for the show. What I will say, Paul,
Makes
is
sense.
it's not the scene that people remember, it's that picture. And guess what? He does do the V gesture or the two fingers gesture in the movie, but that ain't a screenshot of the film. That's a staged photograph that they did afterwards.
It can't really be included in our scenes thing here.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. The tactic. Oh, you're on it. I love it. I love a bit of rules. I love rules, mate.
Little bit of rules
just
keeps the world spinning.
just enough, just the good rules, not the ones I ignore. They're bad. Paul, what's the most watched film in the history of time, or the
Uh,
most box office, whatever way you want to put it?
is it the one that I'm personally responsible for, or the one that the rest of the world is personally responsible for? Because that would be
I think I want an answer to both those now.
it's probably limitless, but
Ah,
it's it's the Sound of Music. Earth gone.
Gone with the Wind.
Go
Yeah.
with the wind.
I have
I don't know why
also
it's the sound.
I have also done that though. I've swapped in Sound of Music for things when they're of a certain period because it's the first one that comes to your mind.
It is, yeah, but yeah, no, gone with the wind.
Well,
That's the most popular and most box office kind of not box office, but the most popular film.
it's
Most seen.
the highest. It has the highest grossing box office adjusted of all time, but that's because it played for like 70 years. Now, we did about 4 episodes where that's come up, and one where we actually specifically dived into it, which is a great time to tell you to check out our video section on our YouTube homepage. Also, like, share, and subscribe. But most importantly, comment. We do want comments,
Yeah.
particularly on this topic, because we have a limited amount of time. We're going to get a bunch of these in here, but we're going to miss out some good mentions. Well, Paul, just on Gone with the Wind, because anytime we do something where it's eligible to be mentioned, we always mention it first. It's become a tradition.
Yeah,
How many people do you think have really seen Gone with the Wind that were born after 1980?
not that many.
And how many of those people do you think have heard or know of the scene? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
A lot, because it is a popular trope of probably many comedy a scene. Because I know that the Simpsons make fun of it.
That's right. That's one of your favourite Simpsons moments, isn't it?
Yeah, Jasper. Yeah, Jasper gets removed from the old folks' home because he's just like, wasn't there a war in that? But yeah, no, yeah. So, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Is probably one. It's probably also the highest. It's probably the most watched scene on this list as well, probably. Which is since a lot of I would say.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, a lot of people have YouTube clipped these scenes. I will say, and I've boosted my mic way too, or my headphones way too much there.
Am I not coming through?
No, you're fine. I was adjusting myself. I was adjusting myself, and I made a mistake. I went too far adjusting myself, Paul. There's a clip for everybody at home. The thing with Gone with the Wind, why it's such a good example is even the film that has the record for adjusted most blah 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 blah. There you go. There's a movie that because it is no longer popular right now, and it isn't something that has been remembered as a brilliant, one of the greatest movies of all time. It is more famous for that scene than for how good the movie was. And that's going to be a running theme here, but it's not always going to be the way. The one we used for the thumbnail was When Harry Met Sally. I was going to get us to reenact the scenes. I was going to say, you take Meg Ryan, I'll be the lady at the table next door. But instead, I used some GIFs, Paul.
Oh, good. I'm glad that we won't have to use my.
It's still an option.
My acting chops, you know.
If you want to reenact yourself at the point of
I am
ultimate ecstasy, please.
So okay with that. No, thank you.
I guarantee I'd play a good Billy Crystal feeling awkward at the other side.
But here's the thing: so the whole scene, which one of these parts do you think is? Because the whole scene is quite. The whole scene is probably more it's probably wider scene than the actual movie. But which part is it? The I'll have what she's having kind of scene, or is it or part of the scene, or is it the other one? Do you think?
I'll be honest with you. I think what's actually, and I asked me this 10 years ago, I would have said it's actually Meg Ryan's yes. You know, yes. But I think I'll have what she's having has transcended that and is actually now, I would say people don't even know in some cases why I'll have what she's having is a joke. It's transcended even this short clip.
That's true, yeah. I say, yeah, the origins of this joke or the origins of this scene and joke are probably lost on a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's a sad kind of thing, especially with the work of
yeah, true. Well,
Sally.
Meg really put herself into that one. To be fair, like it is, people laugh at comedic performances, particularly things like this. But think of trying to actually pull that off and make it funny and believable at the same time. And it was funny and believable. I would not want to do it. I think there's your, that kind of challenge the Oscar winner to see if they can do anything. I say get every Oscar winner ever to be like, right, this is the scene you're going to have to do. It's not going to be, speech from Hamlet. It's going to be Harry Met Sally diner scene.
Yeah. Oh man.
Daniel Day-Lewis would go method.
I was.
Mess.
Yeah. What a mess. I would say my favorite person I would love to see doing this scene out of the Al Pacino, Robert De Niro.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jack Nicholson. Yeah, Jack Nicholson. Like,
well, yeah. I gosh. Although would De Niro just be like, yeah.
Clint Eastwood now.
Oh, Clint Eastwood.
Now at his current age. Like,
get off my edge. I don't know. This is a bit going too far. And anyway, let's move on. There were other options for the thumbnail, folks, just so you know. And if the thumbnail's crap, it's my fault. Reservoir Dogs, that scene. I was thinking what will resonate with people? What will, thumbnails are about grabbing eyes. Anything that's ever been a scene that's been turned into a poster. A la my friend behind me. Hey, Steve. Reservoir Dogs is one of those things. I think Reservoir Dogs hadn't even been seen as a whole movie in 1999, let's say, by the year 2000, by as many people who knew some of the scenes from it. Even early days of the internet, there were still people who had only seen clips on TV of Reservoir Dogs. So it's a particularly good example of this.
Yeah, and there's an even better one that will be coming up from the same director. But the Reservoir Dogs one, I remember seeing clips before seeing the movie, like prior to it. Like the only reason that I did watch the movie wasn't because of the clips, but because it had been once again advertised to me as one of the best movies in cinema history, and I was just like, well, I have to watch it now, kind of thing.
Got it.
Yeah, and also at the time, no one had constantly told me about every scene or anything like that, so it was kind of not ruined on me.
Yeah.
Dirty Harry, like I definitely know that is probably one of the top famous scenes in the world. Like if we were to do a top 10 or top 100,
Yeah.
because I know BBC did that once, didn't
Oh,
they?
did they? Oh, I must check that out
Yeah,
if they did, because I'd love that.
I think they did. Yeah, BBC did the top 100 scenes of all, like famous scenes of all time, and I Dirty Harry was definitely on probably a high number.
Do you want to hear something mildly ironic for a guy that's doing a YouTube channel with you where we try and avoid doing too many lists because everybody does lists? I'm a sucker for them. So if that's a BBC list out there, I love it. I particularly at this time of year.
No, yeah, no, because I think yeah, I think they did because I remember it somewhere. Because I did one for TV as well.
You know, there are multiple Dirty Harry movies. There's Enforcer, Magnum Force, Dirty Harry 2, Deadpool, all that stuff. It's a scene that's so famous that it's almost audio that's famous because he does the whole "Do you feel lucky?" punk thing twice in his in character, and so people will remember it, but will have different memories of it. But it really is did I fire 6 or did I fire 5? Do you feel lucky,
Yeah,
punk? Again, something that became a catchphrase or just a commonly used phrase. Do you feel lucky,
sounds
punk?
right.
A soundbite.
Yeah,
I don't know how many people out there watching us right now have seen Dirty Harry. I have, but I would not be surprised if, again, anybody born after the year 1980, how many people have seen all of Dirty Harry, the original movie, not just Dirty Harry 2 with Jim Carrey at the start of it, which if you don't believe me, go back and watch it. Jim Carrey was at the very start of, I swear to God, everybody check it out. It's your new internet mystery. Yeah, Jim Carrey acting. You won't recognize him at first, and then you go, "Oh my God, that was Jim Carrey before he's famous." That's Dirty Harry 2, Deadpool, folks. Yeah, I genuinely don't think most people have watched this movie. This is one of those ones that I think is a super famous movie that 20 somethings today have not watched, and probably never will
yeah,
watch.
I do. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think Dirty Harry. Yeah, I agree with Dirty Harry kind of thing. I think Reservoir Dogs. I think once again it has that power of Quentin Tarantino is still relevant today. So I think he will. I'm not saying that Clint Eastwood isn't. I'm just saying the Clint Eastwood style of film now is more kind of like dramatic kind of thing. It's more based on kind of like not action or anything like that. Some of it is action, of course,
Yeah,
because like Gran Torino and stuff like that has a little bit of action in it, but they're not classed as that kind of film.
exactly.
So I think he'll be. I think Dirty Harry stage and some of the other Clint Eastwood old films and stuff like that will probably stay in kind of obscurity, except for probably Wayward movie students and movie enthusiasts,
Well,
kind of thing, which is sad.
Well, just so you know, when Bruce called it out, Stuck in the Middle with You scene is more famous. So that's Michael Madsen dancing around. Tried it, would look terrible in a thumbnail, but here's the thumbnails that didn't get used. So that's the anatomy of a thumbnail right there to see if it can work. And in the end, you always go with Meg Ryan. It's eye catching. You just do. I'm not going to say anything more than that. It's going to sound weird.
It's clickbait.
It's clickbait, folks. So can we throw up my friend Steve one last time then? This is his last entry. It's Bullet. Because everybody, and I mean everybody who knows a car person will go, do you like the chase scene in Bullet? And a lot of people have not even seen the car chase scene in Bullet, but will reference it. So more people have talked about it than have even seen the scene, and then even less people than that have seen the actual movie. I will probably get this given to me on DVD again at least 3 times in my life, because people know I'm into cars, so they're always like, "You must love Bullet." It's an okay film, It's not brilliant. It is a fantastic car chase.
Yeah.
But, I'm a fantastic guy. I'm not great at basketball. I wish it was. It's a great car chase. It's only an okay film.
Which is because interesting. I haven't seen Bullet.
There's one, but I bet you've seen the car chase.
I've seen the scene. Yeah, I've definitely seen the car chase. And not in any kind of like I don't want to watch this film or anything. It just hasn't passed into my sphere of kind of influence when watching a movie
And
kind of thing.
they don't put it on TV much.
Well,
To be frank, over the years they just didn't put it on TV that much. I'm not sure why. If there was any particular rights or money involved, that it just wasn't a cheap movie for Irish and British broadcasters to get. But yeah, you know what I would say, if you get a chance to watch it, watch it.
probably
But
will. Like
but
it.
when you see the car chase part, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is great, because it's a lot longer than most of the clips show it as. It's quite an involved car chase. So even YouTube clips usually slice it up. Anyway, Paul, would you fancy moving on to our friend Alfred, Senior Hitchcock? Everybody would think, yeah, what's Alfred Hitchcock's most famous film? Psycho. Everybody's seen it, right? They haven't.
That's, yeah.
Everybody says they've seen it. A lot of people have seen Vince Vaughn do it. Years later, he did a Psycho remake.
Yeah,
I,
I remember that.
it's
You should look that film up if you plan to watch Psycho the original, you should watch the Vince Vaughn one. Just as a kind of catch me up, kind of have a look.
yeah.
Watch Psycho first. Watch the original Psycho first.
I was
please,
just
for the
about to
love
say,
of
please
God.
watch, please watch the original first. Well,
Yeah, I don't want any kind of weird,
you're
weird
not,
kind of like the old or the newer one is better than the old one. It's just like you're wrong. You're just
Yeah.
wrong.
some things you can have a conversation about. Some things you can have an argument about. Some things you just look at people and go, "Not today. Not having this conversation today. I'm out of here."
Pretty
But
much.
the shower scene, Paul, is, I don't know about that BBC list, but I'd say this must have been close to the top of the most famous scenes of all time.
I would say yeah. I would say if this should be the most famous scene in the world. I would say
It's got to be.
in my opinion. If it's not, it's in the top 5.
Oh, easy. Yeah, easy.
You know.
And again, I think this is one of those ones that as years move on, I don't think that scene is going to become less famous because there's so much lore around it. Film kids and film nerds are always going to be into it, and they will, of course, have watched Psycho and all the rest. But there'll be enough people keeping this alive as a reference that I think it will, the scene will last for another couple of decades in pop culture, at least, if not longer. I think less and less people will watch the original movie.
I think so. I do. Question here: do you think the reason why this scene in particular is so famous is because of the soundtrack? Do you think it's more the soundtrack that makes like the combination of soundtrack and visuals more than probably most other video or most other of these clips? Because like the music in this is absolutely like killer.
I will let Garth Algar answer that for you from Wayne's World. Even he, when he does the whole, she's a psycho, he goes, because this gesture, the stabbing gesture, and I don't want to be in any, don't clip that. This is a pen. It's all safe here. That goes so much with the sound. I think you're on the money there. This is a famous scene not just because of all its great perfection in how it's edited together, etc., etc. But yeah, when you can land sound like that, like Jaws doesn't even have a moment, just an 8-second clip where the Jaws music goes with the shark bite. Jaws is very famous and there's many, many famous scenes, but nothing's going to out Psycho. I think you're absolutely right on the combination of sound and scene.
I say that the one that is probably the closest is probably the one of the first scenes in Jaws where it's just like duh, duh, and then you see the fin go by. But I think Psycho with the combination of the Psycho like scene and audio is definitely more famous kind of thing. Like Jaws would probably be the closest to it, possibly, with as in the combination of sound, music, and music, sound, and visual.
Yeah.
Because there's no act, and then with Psycho, it's probably even more kind of like. So if I was to, I'm gabbling here. I would put Psycho first with the 3 combinations, and then Jaws probably second. So.
Yeah, But it's if even if it's a second, it's a definite second. There's no fighting for first. I think. Yeah, I completely didn't think of that when we were putting this together. That's a brilliant point. I want to say hi to everybody in the comments, by the way, but particularly, and thank you all. I'm catching some of the comments. We'll be going back reading them. Anything that we skip over right now, it's just because we're whizzing along and there's a lot to get through. I see Bruce says it's no Vanishing Point. He's talking about car stuff. Years ago, couldn't get anybody to watch Vanishing Point. Then somebody made a song involving Kowalski, the title character of Vanishing Point. All of a sudden, our musical friend Brian watched it and loved it. So it took music to get him into one of my favorite films. But he also did a correct spelling of the psycho noise. Everyone does the re, 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 re noise. It is spelled re, 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 re. You're right. That's the way I would do it in my head too.
Like, there's some interesting kind of things. The Zodiac killer in Dirty Harry the killer in Dirty Harry was based on the Zodiac killer. Or did I mention it? I'm not entirely sure. Bullet. Sorry, that's nothing. No, nothing. Sorry. It's essentially I watched Bullet after I watched the Bourne movies. That's because of I'm guessing the car chase in the first Bourne movie kind of thing. There was a thing that I did want to point out, which is I've heard people I have what she's having, but not but no one knows where they saw us or like where it came from.
There you go.
That's what we're talking about here. Is people don't know the movie that it comes from. This is the interesting thing. The Gone with the Wind one, frankly, my dear, don't give a damn. I would say that if you went out onto the street and asked people under 25 which movie did frankly, my dear, don't give a damn, they would get it mixed up with Casablanca.
Absolutely they would. They would.
I would think that they would get it mixed up with Casablanca because I think we have that scene on our list, do we?
I don't know if we. I don't think I added that one, but
no. But the one that I'm like, this is the start of a beautiful friendship. Mm-hmm. Like that scene, I say people get those two mixed up constantly.
Yeah,
I say that, like, and that's the level of what we're going to.
It's true, actually. That's a good pull. The last comment there about Jaws. Jaws might be more famous because people watch it in color, and Psycho's black and white. People stay away from black and white, which you don't understand. Popculture 33, completely agree. I don't know why people are put off by black and white, as is evidenced by me picking Young Frankenstein recently, which is a movie that was made in the color era, but actually made in black and white. So there's somebody who was just trying to see if people want to watch their stuff. Now, Paul, next up is something that you referenced earlier. It's the other Tarantino. Mr. Tarantino's... You have a very special relationship with this, I think.
Yeah, this particular movie, yeah.
Tell me your story.
This is Pulp Fiction. Quentin Tarantino's probably most famous film. I have never watched it. I will never watch it. And the reason for that is because the majority of the scenes and storyline have been ruined for me. As in, I have been the victim of essentially popular culture overselling this film kind of thing. And it's in the vein of kind of going, Pulp Fiction is a great film, you should watch it. And then describing a scene from the film to me. And it's happened so many times with different scenes and stuff like that. I just feel like I've gotten the movie kind of thing, and like I have seen clips from the movie kind of thing.
You couldn't avoid it.
Yeah. But so it means that like people telling me a scene and then essentially seeing a clip of it, like, has ruined that movie for me. So I do not want to watch it. I have no interest in it. Kind of thing. So.
The internet may well come at you because there are a lot of people who believe this is, the greatest film of all time, etc., etc. Don't get me wrong, it's very, very good. Paul, I have seen it. I've seen it multiple times and I like it, but I get myself in trouble. This is the age-old pub thing of blah, 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 and then somebody says something and everybody looks at them like they've just farted. My usual thing is, Yeah, I think Pulp Fiction's overrated. And Reservoir Dogs is a better movie, and everyone just loses their mind. Particularly of my generation and my age, they're like, "How can you even possibly think that?" I have lots of arguments and lots of reasons for it, and someday we may, if we ever run out of ideas, there's what we can do. Just I'll
Yeah,
explain why I think Pulp Fiction is a good movie, but there are better. It is from a scene point of view, though. That soundtrack went everywhere, but just Samuel L. Jackson's his recitation of a Bible verse to the idea of what's in the golden box idea. I was going to say what's in the
yeah,
box. That's more of a seven thing.
yeah,
The golden
suitcase
briefcase.
thing. Yeah,
The dancing scene. For me, I just threw up my favorite GIF of John Travolta because that's how I feel most of the time about the world. Is what exactly is my place in this room right now. But it will not go away. As in, I think these are the scenes that will definitely last another 30, 40 years.
oh yeah,
Because there'll be enough people watching Pulp Fiction and enough people keeping it going. Tarantino is poised to be the Hitchcock of his generation as far as how people remember him. Not that I think that's the case, just that's how it'll all be remembered 30, 40 years from now. I think Pulp Fiction is going to keep getting watched by just enough people to keep this all out there. I think it'll always be true that it'll be overshadowed, or scenes will overshadow the movie by a long shot.
yeah. I definitely agree. From my point of view, it's gone to the extreme side of kind of ruining the film. The amount of times that I've witnessed some of the scenes and stuff like that. Like I know that there's a lot of people going like, yeah, but you haven't experienced it and stuff like that. It's just it's just the way it's gonna happen. It's gonna work. So I'm gonna watch the film and just be like, oh, it's this scene that I've heard a million times.
I would say someday watch it if it happens to be right in front of you. I would never purposely avoid this thing because you might find that, and I'll be honest with you, some of the scenes you haven't ever heard of are actually the better parts of the movie, as is often the case. But you're right, in between will have been ruined for you so much that it's gonna be a tough sell.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with the fact that there's going to be enough people with Quentin Tarantino probably still being famous enough that this film will continue on in its legacy of kind of scene clipping and also full watchers,
Yeah,
which is good. I'm completely it's going to be cool,
absolutely.
but I guess I can't comment on how much I care for this film in the sense of it's being underrated or overrated kind of thing.
Yeah, well,
That's for another time.
again, everybody always reacts to me saying it's overrated, like I've said it was bad. I can literally say I really enjoyed it, thought it was good, but it's overrated, and people go, "Why do you hate Pulp Fiction?" It's like, oh God. Okay.
It's the cats and dogs thing. The cats and dogs argument that I always have
Yeah.
when I say that I like cats. I like cats more than I like dogs, and people go, "Why do you hate dogs?" And it's like that's not what I said. I like dogs. I really like dogs.
Yeah.
I own a dog. I
Yeah.
like cats more.
Anyway, because we've trod that ground before, and I'm completely with you. I'm gonna keep going back in time if that's okay. Apocalypse Now. Again, is there these are the most famous movie titles. These are up there. If you say this title to 100 people on the street, 99% of people will go, "Oh, the movie Apocalypse Now." If you just said Apocalypse Now, they'll go, "Oh yeah, the movie." Maybe half of those people will be like, either "I love the smell of napalm in the morning," or
Yeah.
"Oh, the horror, the horror." And of that 50, I'd say 10 of them have seen the film. I'm pulling stats out my rear here, but again,
No.
a movie that most people, and I'm just going to use that 1980 thing, but 1980 on, 1990 on, it's less and less watched, but still talked about as much. Oh, the brilliant Apocalypse Now, and what a performance, and great scenes, and then the scenes will be mentioned. A lot of people haven't actually seen it.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only one that I would add is the scene of him naked in the hotel room Is that's what it is? Where he's
Yeah,
drinking a lot and stuff like
yeah,
that.
he's on a bender.
Yeah, I think that would be a scene, probably lesser of the two, of the horror and napalm one, but I say that's another one that's also would be added to the list, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Of Apocalypse Now scenes that people would have seen, because I don't think anything else after that. Once again, I also think that people would get this confused with Platoon
Or Full Metal Jacket.
or For Metal Jacket. Yeah,
Those three movies are more often confused and swapped around. And I think, like, I myself have actually accidentally done it when talking about Platoon and said Full Metal Jacket, as in said Full Metal Jacket when I'm talking about, Willem Dafoe and Tom Berenger, and somebody go, but that's Platoon. I'm like, did I not say Platoon? Yeah. Some films are kind of melded a little bit. But I think, yeah, Apocalypse Now is in that list. You're right. I wonder, actually, I'd love, we got to go out in the street and survey people. I know maybe during a pandemic's not the time to have this idea. But I would love to just stand there with these questions and find out what the average street here has.
yeah. No, like I would be interested in seeing if you've seen this scene. Have you watched the movie of this scene, kind of thing? Yeah, it'd be interesting. Just run around with a phone that has a whole bunch of scenes on it, and just be like, "Have you seen this film?" Kind of thing.
Exactly.
Just to a survey.
And you know what? Humphrey Bogart alone, we'd be able to Maltese Falcon our way around the place with people guessing all sorts of other things. I'm going to have to skip. I'm going to come back to our running order, but I've got to skip to one because I've spotted a comment, and that's Alien. Pop culture asked, does Alien fall victim to this? People who've seen the chestburster scene. I specifically called this one out because so many people watch Aliens, the second film, and never go back and watch the first. And some people even try, and I've had people say to me, oh yeah, but it's not like the second one. It's dark and it's scary and it's slow, and yeah, it's completely different. It's one of the reasons that Aliens is a brilliant sequel. It's one of the reasons it's considered one of the best sequels of all time. They didn't just try and rebake the same cake. I think that is by far the most famous scene from Alien, and I don't think that many people have actually seen the movie. Again, take your below 25, below 30, whatever it might be. A load of them have seen Aliens and have seen Sigourney Weaver in a walking forklift, essentially. But Alien, the first film, a lot less.
I would say the same. I would say very similar kind of thing as in the Alien chest bursting scene is probably the most famous out of the Alien franchise, especially the one with John Hurt, Kane.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, that's out of sci-fi. That's probably one of the top 5 most famous sci-fi scenes. Out of famous scenes overall, I'd say it'd be in the top 10.
Yeah, you're probably right. And actually, Pop Culture asked a question that we should kind of... It's not a question, but as part of the comment, there's a question there. Do you think, if people see this scene or know this scene, because it is pivotal. I remember the first time I watched Alien, way too young, by the way. VHS was a great thing. Video shop, home, nobody in the house knew to not let the kid see Alien. Will the film lose its impact because people know this scene is coming? I don't think so, because there's so much tension in this movie that it's more about tension than that big jump fright. That just kicks off a lot of the second type of tension in the movie.
Yeah, I also think that the scene that it happens in will still be surprising, because most people are seeing the clip that you've shown.
It's a really good point.
I don't think that they'll know the context around this scene, so that when it happens, not until Kane flips onto the table will they realize that will they actually realize that they're actually going into this scene.
That's true.
So I think that's where the impact is. I think it's because there's so much going on with Alien, and the scenes kind of like, when clipped, don't really allow themselves to be kind of fully kind of like chronologically ordered kind of thing. I know of plenty of other films that like Psycho, because it starts quite like the murder scene starts quite late after the start of the shower, that you know that you're going into that scene. Whereas this, I feel like there's enough build up to kind of like get you lost.
Yeah, and
You know?
there is enough. There's a lot of crew interaction. There's a lot of moving around different parts of the Sulaco. No, the Nostromo. Hey, look at me! Almost lost my nerd passport there. I think you're right. Actually, that's a really good point that I hadn't kind of considered. A lot of the scenes, depending on what they are, will be short enough or out of context enough if you've never seen the movie that when you do watch the movie, the scene will still catch you by surprise. That's a really good point.
Like,
Gosh.
yeah. So I think this still will have the impact of it. I do think that because this is classified as a sci-fi horror, I don't think many people will see it.
That's
because
true.
of that horror.
That's true. But you know when they won't be expecting it as well, and I'm just going to I'm going to change things over a little bit when it's done in Spaceballs, because the vaudeville alien chestburster is it's as good, if not better. Well, definitely better footwork and a better vocal than the original performance. It still makes me laugh every time I watch Spaceballs. Some of the jokes wear thin, but this one still makes me giggle. I even know the words to the song he sings because I've sang along so many times.
That's a good, yeah. Probably, like, yeah. That's also interesting. There's probably not a lot of people who know the linkage of that scene kind of thing as well.
That's true. People will watch parodies that are referring to scenes that they've never seen. Gosh. So there you go. Just to show that we're on the exact same wavelength as our other YouTube brethren there. Popculture, we had that one lined up. But before it was, you kind of have to, and I'm just going to say his name. We had so many to choose from when it comes to Scorsese. Because Scorsese films, whether it's Goodfellas with the You Talking to Me, or not You Talking, jeez. I'm funny like a clown. I amuse you. How do we? Yeah, blah blah blah. All of Goodfellas essentially has been clipped up over the years.
Quite a lot of it.
Yeah, like pick a Scorsese movie, there'll be a scene. The one that I've got here, again, it's because it's such a used phrase. The You Talking to Me from Taxi Driver, and also. It is one of the least accessible Scorsese movies because it's one of his earlier ones. So, anybody today can watch Goodfellas and get in and get an interesting, exciting, great movie to watch. Taxi Driver requires a little bit more patience and commitment. It just does. It's a tougher film. And sorry, I just realized the GIF may have some curse words in it there. Apologies to anybody who's reading this that's under the age of whatever, and also algorithm, if you can hear us, please don't recognize the F word and suppress us. Taxi Driver, Paul, great movie. This scene is not what the movie's about. It's not the entirety of this movie, but it is what a lot of people think of as this movie.
Yeah, I'd say that this is one of these things where the scene is probably way more famous than the movie itself, as in the plot of the movie. Kind of thing. So it's one of these scenes for you that probably it also probably ruins, as you said, this has nothing, like, it has very little to do with the main plot of this movie.
Well, it's not the entirety of the message, there's it makes it seem like, it glamorizes this kind of You Talking to Me tough guy thing. People an awful lot of the time don't realize he's talking to a mirror, and that, the Travis Bickle character, the journey that he's on is not a good one, and it's a there's a rain coming to wash the dirt off the streets. It's a heavy film in its own way.
Yeah.
And this, I think a lot of people see this and go, oh yeah, is it where there's the cool line, You Talking to Me? Kind of like it's a Dirty Harry moment. You're like,
yeah.
Well, it really isn't Dirty Harry moment.
No. I think that the message in this, unless you watch the full movie, that this scene gets lost, which is sad, and just I guess a problem with kind of not going about and looking at many of the films and just watching the clips.
Yeah,
and just watching the film scenes kind of thing.
And you kind of can't avoid this one. Popculture's actually called that out. Finally watched Taxi Driver. I do think that it did not have that big an impact as would have. It didn't have the scene basically being brought out of the movie. And Bruce asking, did he ad-lib that? I don't know. There's a chance that De Niro did. I think it's more likely that it was written, just because of the time that Scorsese and De Niro were in their career. I think it would have been written.
I think parts of it are ad-libbed, but I think the part, not to put it in, like, not to for Brew, but I think there's a scene in Midnight Cowboy where Dustin Hoffman walks across a thing and it says, "Hey, I'm walking here," because a taxi driver avoided, kind of ignored essentially that they were filming and stuff like that. And Dustin Hoffman actually has a argument with the taxi driver. Like, the taxi driver is not an actor, he's not an extra or anything like that. A lot of people get the ad lib in that mixed up with something from Taxi Driver.
That's
like, it's just an interesting fact. Like, it's an interesting, like, thing, I guess.
I think that is, because I know that scene very well. It's like, Rizzo or whatever his name was, he's like, "Hey, I'm walking here," and great staying in character from Dustin Hoffman. But I did not expect us tonight at any point to have said what's come up a bunch of times, and you've pointed it out, that a lot of these famous scenes will actually get swapped in and out of other movies. Well, that's a doozy.
I think it's the problem with just watching scenes or clips from a movie that are, like, the clips or scenes are quite famous. I think because you then don't have any of the context around it, it means that once you kind of have any kind of, like, connection, how thin it is, it can, like, it can kind of, intersperse, like the
Platoon Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, kind of like triad kind of thing. That's, or the Casablanca and Gone with the Wind.
Yeah,
like those films just get interspersed just because they're not in popular culture in the sense of watching the full film. It's more watching the scenes.
Well, thanks to this, Paul, accidental segue, but I love it. It's perfect because Rocky, Rocky, the first film, so many famous scenes, but and I said this to you via mail, the Rocky montage, the training montages, everybody, they're kind of a part of the piss take in modern culture now. Not that many people have seen all of the Rocky films. Not that many people anymore have even seen the first Rocky film, because there are a lot of Rocky movies now, to be fair. But if you say to somebody, which movie is each one of the training montages that is gift here, if it wasn't for some specific details, he'd be like, "Oh God, I don't know, that could be the first one. Is that the third one? Oh gosh." Okay, everybody knows that once there's a bit of snow, it gives itself away as to where it is. But seriously, Rocky montages have become famous, and people aren't bothered watching the movies.
Yeah, no, sorry. The only thing I was going to say was, so it could work on me because I've seen the first one, I've seen the second one. Is the top one the one that he's doing the push-ups? Is that from the first one?
It is.
Is the middle one from, like, the third one?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Hang on. I know I would have named these for myself to make sure that I did. No, I didn't.
Because I know that one is I think it's from the second one. It's the one from Droga.
It's 2 or 3 is the middle one, and Rocky 4 is the Ivan Drago one.
See, there you go. I even got that wrong because I thought that was Rocky 2.
There we go. So, well, anything with snow is when he's training by lifting logs and such, and that means Russian winter. It means Ivan Drago. It means Rocky 4. It means I must break you.
I know that Drago is in us. I just didn't know that it was number 4. Yeah, my other favorite thing about that montage is always the 2 Russian guys watching him,
following him in the Lado or NSU or whatever it is.
They're literally just standing beside their car watching him train in the snow, and you're just like, what information are you getting from this? Like, he's not dead.
The American is lifting a log. He has put it back down again. I don't know. All of the Rocky montage scenes after the first one are a little bit of comedy gold. But again, people aren't going back watching Rocky movies. They've got what they need from pop culture. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the first Rocky film. I think it's a fabulous movie. I think everybody should watch it. I recommend it all the time. But pop culture's got so much of what it needs from Rocky that I don't think people are going back. They'll watch a new Creed or whatever. I don't think people are going back. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I just don't think it's happening.
Yeah.
So, Paul, before I throw to our kind of last few, do you want to read some commentos?
I was just reading the Rosebud and Citizen Kane, which I think is
It was in our notes.
I think it's an honourable mention one.
Yeah.
I do think that someone has Top of the World. I think Gavin,
King of the World, the whole Titanic thing.
Yeah, which I think... this is a question. Is the door scene or that scene more famous? Ooh. Excuse me. Would you say?
Sorry, I just had a sneeze there. You know what? To me, it's the door scene, but I guess to most people, it's probably King of the World or whatever it is. Or maybe it's not where he's doing King of the World. It's where he's holding her up and she's doing the whole I'm the hood ornament on the Titanic.
I guess. See, once again, that's a nice confusion thing. I meant the moment where he's holding her up.
Oh,
because so that there's another kind of interesting thing because I keep forgetting that the King of the World one is when he does it himself at the start when the Titanic is leaving.
Well,
but yeah, no, the holding her up in front on the top of the Titanic or the door scene. I don't know which one's more famous myself.
Chat, if you can get in there, give your vote by either typing king or door. 4-letter words are easier. You can choose another 4-letter word if you just want to say it to us. It was pop culture. So Gavin, we just credited you, but it was anyway. Gavin, you're an excellent man. You've been throwing in good stuff, and we haven't been calling out half enough of it. So yeah, get your vote for most famous Titanic scene. We better get into some of the... Well, actually, Paul, this is another one that we've talked about before, and I know it's close to your heart. It's a Christmas film. It's A Wonderful Life. Hi, I'm Dr. Monty. It's in Paul's YouTube and Patrick's social media. It is a chunked up film for me because I've seen it so many times. Yet I end up going, oh yeah, this scene, because of how many clips have come from it over the years.
Yeah, like it's the top one, which I think is the one that like I think a lot of people would have seen is the ringing of the bell and saying that that means when an angel gets its wings. Every time a bell rings. Yeah, that a boy Clarence kind of thing. I say that's a more famous scene than the actual movie. And I think that has also been made because of the parodies that have been made of it. I think that's a kind of combination thing. I think people have seen parodies of it and then gone back to the original clip and never gone to the actual movie.
Well, I think you're probably right. You are probably right. There's so much in it. And I guess for me, just on a personal level, you know, the running down the street and he's saying, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, this. And he runs past the cinema and he goes, Merry Christmas, Picture House or Cinema House. If it's snowing and I pass a cinema, I will be like, Merry Christmas, cinema. Merry Christmas, Odeon. It's too hard not to. Paint Me Like One of Your French Girls is something I was going to mention a moment ago. Brew has gotten there. Brew, I want to say there might be a reason why you remember that as the most famous scene, because I think it's about what happens after it. You dirty boy. But so far, King of the World is winning. I guess it's only me that's holding a grudge that she wouldn't let him back onto the door. Also,
I do enjoy...
Go for it, no?
I was going to say Miss Mothers did a whole thing on it saying that he could definitely fit in the door, so... Just saying.
There was so much other wreckage around the place. At the very least, I recently said this to my wife. I was like, if he was really going to self-sacrifice, he would have swam around and got some more things to shove under and around the door and make sure she was okay. But no, he's like, I'll hang on, I'll have a kip after a while, and then I'll be a martyr. Yeah, waster. Anyway, Iceberg Right Ahead comes to mind from Titanic. I guess, yeah. Titanic's a weird one just because making a movie that everybody knew how it was going to turn out was an interesting one anyway.
Let's run through the quick mentions, and then we'll go run on to our quick.
Yes,
our
please.
Quick, so, quick mentions: Citizen Kane Rosebud, which was mentioned in the chat. The cue card scene from Love Actually, which is also famous. American Psycho, the business card one. I also have a couple, which is the E.T. Phone Home one. Also the boombox over the head.
Say anything,
and I would also say the Breakfast Club dancing in the library is also probably one of them. They're just some of the mentioned ones of kind of, we didn't want to go too far into them, but they're more attached to popular culture than some of the other ones. So
no, I think that's there are so many. But Paul, let's. I know we've run long into what is now really the meat of the conversation, and I'll use the last of the visuals to get that going. What do we think are going to be the future movies that suffer from this? My first vote is The Matrix. Yes. I think red pill, blue pill, and that whole stuff, and it's been co-opted by all sorts of people in all sorts of ways, and I don't really want to get into that. But there are scenes from The Matrix, multiple scenes from The Matrix, that are way more famous than that movie, even now. There are people who have been born and are watching this now. There are people working who are gainfully employed, driving and voting, who have been born since that movie came out. It's 20 years ago. So I think The Matrix will eventually become a bunch of references and people won't go back and watch it, even though I really think they should.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. The pill scene will definitely be, and I think the new Matrix film is only going to compound that as well.
Probably.
Because like people will be clipping the take the red pill or take the blue pill scene, like once that movie comes out, kind of thing. So Matrix. Is there any other ones you can think of? Well, I have one in my head.
Go for it, and I'll throw us on the big screen together.
The Harry Potter Leviosa.
Is that scene? the first wand wave kind of spell type thing?
It's the one of the first Harry Potter moments that I think people are going to continue on with because it's just a funny, it's more of a funny kind of like audio clip thing. It's Leviosa, Latin Leviosa, or something like that. I think a lot of people and diehard Harry Potter fans and those movies are relatively like recent compared to some of the ones on our list. I think they'll continue on for a while, but I think also in the chat there's also one that I also think there is, or will be part of it. But I do think the Harry Potter Leviosa kind of thing will be one of the clips of Harry Potter forever, just because it's a funny clip.
Yeah, and even I know it. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen the Harry Potter films now because I watched them in that marathon for this very channel, but I think you're right, yeah. I'm interested to see what one from the chat you're thinking of, because the honourable mentions, I guess, that have come through the chat are the pottery wheel in Ghost, Show Me the Money from Jerry Maguire, all of Dirty Dancing, any scene that you can think of from Dirty Dancing. People aren't going back and watching it. They should. It's good. First rule of Fight Club. Hey. You Can Be My Wingman Anytime. Are people going back watching Top Gun? I don't know. John Wick, Home Alone, Braveheart. Well, it's funny.
John Wick,
go for it.
John Wick scene probably either the I think I'm or which I don't know which scene. That's the only thing. It's probably going to be the one where he says, "People keep asking me, am I back?" And I think I'm back.
Yeah,
I think that scene is going to be quite a lot of quite a well clipped. I am getting worse and worse and further into witness protection.
Well, you know what? I also think it's going to not suffer, but it's going to be a little bit bullet as well, because there'll be action scenes that outlive people going back and watching John Wick, and there will be automotive scenes because there's some pretty good use of a Mustang in that. One particular jump and slide that I think car folk will remember and not actually go back and watch the movie. But my last offering is 7. Seven was a huge film. I think it actually, you know what? I shouldn't even be bringing it up now because it's more of an honorable mention. The what's in the box scene. People haven't watched Seven. A lot of people haven't watched Seven because they've been told Seven's a bit of a tough watch in places.
Yeah.
And you say that to people and they go, oh, but they'll still pick up the pop culture references. And to say that it is a tough watch is an understatement. It's a bloody tough watch. So I think it makes sense that it would go. Do you think any of the Marvel movies, just to close us out on topical, do you think any of the kind of the modern, and I won't just say Marvel, but any of the DC Marvel kind of hero movies have scenes that will way outshine their movies in the long term?
Yeah, I think the scene in Civil War, the one where Bucky and Falcon are in the car.
In the Beetle, yeah.
Yeah, and Bucky asks him to move his seat back forward, and Falcon says no. I think that's a scene that will be shown a lot, kind of thing. And also, right after that scene, it's the one where Captain America talks to Agent 37, and they have a kind of moment, and then they look back at the car, and both Falcon and Winter Soldier are both kind of nodding approvingly. I think that scene will be quite famous.
Yeah.
I have two for DC.
Huh.
And they both involve the Joker.
Okay.
The pencil scene, which I know someone says the pencil quote, which is from John Wick, which I think is more famous from John Wick 2, but the pencil scene from the Joker, I will make this pencil disappear. I think that scene is going to haunt that movie quite a bit. And then in the Joker film, I think when you introduce me, can you call me the Joker?
Yeah.
I think that moment there, the actual kind of like pinnacle moment of him becoming the Joker,
Yeah.
I think that scene will be clipped a lot more than the film will be watched, because that's another tough watch film kind of thing. So,
Well,
and I think that's its Seven moment.
here's one that I think will outlive people actually even seeing the clip, because I don't think it'll be a famous clip, but I predict 30 years from now people will be running around a park and somebody passing somebody else will say, on your left. I think some things, just little sound bites like that, pass into regular folk parlance, and they don't know where it came from.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be that they have military connections or anything like that. It's going to be that they heard it from people who used it, in their local running club or whatever, as a little nod back to that scene from, that was Winter Soldier, right?
So that was that was Winter Soldier, and then probably compounded from Infinity or Endgame.
Yeah, which is the ultimate callback to that, to be fair. Okay, Paul.
Yeah.
I think we've done an all right job. What do you think?
Yeah, like I think there's tons of scenes that are probably like moves, ones that we probably missed out and stuff like that. So if you have any, put them down in the comments down below. We'll do two runs. If there's scenes from current movies that you think will suffer from this, and then obviously movies that we've missed out in our list of past movies that their scenes are more famous than the actual movie.
Well said.
We'd love to hear
Well
more.
put. Well said and well put. Like, share, and subscribe while you're at it. But also check out Paul over on Homebrew Quest. That's your search term for YouTube, folks. And check out our good friend and good commenter here, Popculture 33. Excellent YouTube channel, great content. For everybody who's joined us tonight, thank you. For all you watching in the future, do what Paul just said, get into those comments. Paul, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, which good. Also, all our socials are down below me. Which goes. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Paul.
I've been Patrick.
And we've been here safe.
And we will see you next time. And last week when you were driving, Paul, you didn't let me know when the stream ended, so you could be waving. Maybe I've gone.
Oh, see, I'm not. I'm gonna sit here like cool as.